Aloha guys, Scuba Chris here. In Hawaii we have a art that we call whipping and dunking. Dunking means you're throwing out a lead weight and you're putting bait or dead bait or light bait on it. We call that dunking, which is basically bait casting. And what we also have is whipping. Whipping is so we can use flies to jigs, grubs, and we'll cast it out, which is basically spin casting, but we call it whipping. Dunking and whipping are the two most popular groups of fishing in Hawaii. So right now that we want to work with how to cast farther when we're whipping. Okay, now we have the epic advantages of using tungsten. This is a tungsten flipping weight, all right? It can go farther than lead for the same size. So you say if this one here is 2 ounce, this can go out farther than a 2 ounce lead. Same as this. This is 1 1/4, 1 1/4. So the 1 1/4 can also go out much further than lead. What are the reasons why? Now check out this 1 1/4 ounce tungsten weight. Now this tungsten here is, like I said, it's almost twice as dense as lead, and it's not gonna, even though this is 1 1/4, it's not gonna be close to the size of what a lead weight would be. So because it's a smaller size, that means there's less air resistance and you can cast it further. That is, number one, the biggest advantage. The biggest disadvantage is price. Lead is way, way cheaper than tungsten. Tungsten will average 3 to 5 times more for a piece like this than a piece of lead would be. That is the main difference. That's why people go to lead. But there are pros and cons about that too. Let me give you a good example. Now, the fish picture over here, that's a halalu, which is a scad, which is found on the shorelines of the Hawaiian Islands. Now, it's a very popular fish for using for bait as well as for home consumption. Now, these fish group here and there, and they always group around the same places, the same time each year. Now, sometimes they're up to the shoreline, other times they're 80 yards off of shore. So we want to reach that school, but if we use a larger, heavier weight, the fish will see the weight, hear the punk when the lead hits the water. It might scare it away. Plus, the fish will see this big piece of lead going through the water, and that would also be a deterrent. And another deterrent about lead is when the sun's out and it hits it, you see flashes. You're going to see it. Average piece of tungsten, you won't get that because it's not shiny and it's not reflective. And because of that, I can reduce the length of the leaders. Now, when the Akule / Halalu, Akule is the Hawaiian word for a large scad. Halalu is when they're smaller, bait size, all right? So for the Halalu, they're very picky. They can see the leader, they can see the lead. So we're actually putting 12 to 15, sometimes 18 feet of leader. Try to do that with a short rod and twirl it up like a lasso and throw everything out one time. It's not the easiest thing. You just got to get used to it. But because I'm flipping these tungsten weights, I can do with a shorter piece of leader. Is because it's not shiny, so the fish are not going to see the flashing. And the main thing is that it is because it's smaller, the fish is less apt to see it when it's closer. Good thing to know. So to recap, one of the biggest reasons that I love tungsten over lead is because you cannot see the flashing. Lead is shiny compared to tungsten. And that shininess and seeing a larger piece of foreign objects going through the water will scare the fish. I don't get a lot of that using tungsten. Now, there's only one really big disadvantage to using this type of system: cost. Buying tungsten is expensive. So there's about roughly six major manufacturers out there making tungsten right now. The products are all the same. I've tried quite a few of them. They're all the same. but it's big difference in price. I mean, name brands to me don't mean anything. Whoever's going to give me the cheapest price is going to get my vote. Not saying there's anything bad about lead. I mean, I still use lead to this day. I find that using lead when the water is dirty, no problem. It's just when the water is super, super clear. I mean, really clear that you can see over 50-foot visibility. When I switch to tungsten, it makes a big difference. That's all I got to say. Just keep your mind open and know when products will give you advantage to catching fish. Tungsten is always good to have in your tackle box. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg, but it's good to have it. Thank you.